Hey guys, it's Sean O'Connell, the managing editor here at CinemaBlend, back with another recap of the latest episode of The Mandalorian. I'm pretty sure it's the next to last one before the finale, and not quite the huge explosive penultimate type episodes that we would expect to get in a season, but some huge character developments and amazing action. So let's break down some analysis of what we saw in The Believer, the latest episode of The Mandalorian. Before we do that, of course, go down and hit subscribe, turn on your notifications. Every time we post a new analysis video here for the next episodes of The Mandalorian, we want to make sure that you guys come right over to our YouTube channel and check it out. Okay, so in this one, we return to Bill Burr, who is helping out Mandalorian because of his previous connections to the Empire and the way that they can get the coordinates for Moff Gideon. And what I found really fascinating off the bat is while Bill Burr's character is supposed to be this total badass, it's great to be able to just catch up with him in a Star Wars prison. Like we're just to the point now where like we're able to visit these worlds over the course of The Mandalorian in the Star Wars universe, and we see droids recruiting people from prisons, and we just take it for granted. Like this is coming off of the Disney investor call where just a slew of new Star Wars projects have dropped out, and I don't want it to ever get normal. Like I don't want us to just get to the point where we accept the fact that the new normal is to see Boba Fett involved in a Star Wars adventure. Like that's really special and crazy. But what I was getting at with Bill Burr's character is that how terrified he is of Moff Gideon. Like Moff Gideon has the ability to become a Darth Vader level villain, a Darth Maul style villain, a real manipulator. And again, you don't cast Giancarlo Esposito if you're not going to use him to the full extent. But I like the fact that the minute Moff Gideon was mentioned, it was like, yo, I'm not in this mission. Like, I'm out. And it's cool to have a character like Bill Burr, a comedian who's contributing to the drama of the situation, but he doesn't have to lose his Boston accent.
What would they say on Mandalore?
He doesn't have to sort of ditch his approach to dialogue delivery, which I find to be really, really funny. It was weird to hear him say, like, he was talking about the Mandalorians, and he calls them you people. And the minute he said it, I was like, oh, this sounds like a Bill Burr bit. And then the next line was,
and by you people, I do mean Mandalorians.
And they're leaning into the comedy. They're leaning into Bill Burr's style of comedy and a bit that he would potentially do. The biggest reveal that we get to is obviously Mandalorian taking off his helmet and revealing his face. And it was funny because there was a moment in the episode early on when he was given the opportunity to potentially do it before they put on the other soldiers' costumes in order to masquerade themselves, when I thought, like, just do it. Like, this would be the ultimate sacrifice to show how dedicated you are to get Grogu back. And he didn't do it then, but that meant that it carried so much more weight later when he needed to do the facial recognition, and we finally got Pedro Pascal being revealed underneath his armor, essentially. And it's springs a lot of other conversations if this is now something that he's going to be able to do a little more freely. Is he giving up his commitment to the way? You know, this is the way, and the belief system, which I guess speaks to why the episode is potentially called The Believer. And this level of faith, it goes to the conversation that Bill Burr was saying of like, here we invest ourselves into all of these religions, these practices, these traditions. And it doesn't matter where you were born, but it sort of emphasizes what you're going to believe. But when those places go away, do the traditions disappear with them? How long do you hold on to them? How long do you commit if something more important comes along? And for Mandalorian, this means his relationship with the child. If something more important comes along and challenges those beliefs or asks you to discard them in order to get something else accomplished, are you willing to go down that route? And I find that to be a really fascinating conversation. It shows how you can get philosophical and how you can explore some of these bigger questions when you have long-form storytelling that's available in The Mandalorian, which goes back around to the fact that I get very excited to hear about the shows that are potentially coming to Disney Plus, because they are learning the lessons that Lucasfilm is learning from these experiments like The Mandalorian. Like, we're only able to have these conversations and get to the point where the facial reveal of the man inside the armor is important and significant is because we spent so much time with them over the course of 2 seasons up to this point. It's massive. It's massive. One other thing that The Believer taught me about Mandalorian is that it it's not the Baby Yoda show. Like, this episode absolutely proves that while Grogu was a portal that got a lot of mainstream people interested in the show because he's adorable, and he's Baby Yoda, and of course we want to see all the cool things that he's going to do and the potential of him. I think this is the first episode since the majority of the pilot, essentially, where you don't get to meet Baby Yoda until the very end. This is the first one where he's not involved that I can think of, and it was as compelling. Like, you didn't lose a step because he wasn't a part of it. And I know that, like, the Mandalorian obviously is pursuing him, and so we got an episode that's driven towards, like, how close is he going to get to him. But I think that that's an important point to stop on and discuss, is that we can follow the Mandalorian as he goes off on several other adventures, and because there are the other elements that have been established by the Star Wars universe, the threat of stormtroopers, the potential of pirates coming out and almost interfering with the mission that he was on, other characters like Cara Dune, or Boba Fett, of course, so that when we get to something like the Ahsoka show, we're going to want to follow these characters as they branch off and to do some of the things that develop them as characters. And I kind of needed to be reminded that this isn't just the Baby Yoda show, that it's actually called The Mandalorian, and there's a reason why we're invested in him as a character. I couldn't wait to get to the end of the episode because I didn't know who the director was, but I was marveling at the action, the way that everything was staged. And it's Rick Famuyiwa, who was supposed to direct The Flash, and I hate to keep labeling him that way because it's a project that he lost, but clearly is a Star Wars fanatic. The pirate chase scene alone, with the added element of the drama of, are they going to disrupt this material and this explosive material, and having to go back and forth with Mandalorian running out of blasters and fighting these guys as they go on back and forth, was choreographed beautifully. There's some amazing fluid shots of the camera sort of coming through the ships and joining Mandalorian up top there that I just sort of marveled at, and again took for granted that on a weekly basis we are getting Star Wars action and Star Wars stories that are playing out this way. So just great, just tremendous. And it's a little bit sad because the season ends next week. We have the season finale coming up, and so many different directions that we could potentially go to. Like, how close is Mandalorian going to get to retrieving Grogu? And what role does Moff Gideon have in this? And who's going to be part of the final battle? And there's a lot to be answered. So I want to hear from you guys. So hit the comments down below and let me know what you thought about not just this most recent episode of Mandalorian, but where you think we're going to be going into the season finale. I love, hearing about all of your opinions and speculations, and that's kind of what the Star Wars community thrives on. While you are down in the comments, of course, do me a favor and hit subscribe and turn on your notifications. We're posting videos like this all the time on our YouTube channel, and we want to make sure that you guys get to see all of them.